University of Michigan is located on the territory of the Anishinaabe people. The Ann Arbor campus resides on land ceded through the Treaty of Detroit in 1807. Additionally, in 1817, the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations made the largest single land transfer to the University of Michigan, ceded through the Treaty of Fort Meigs, with the agreement that their children would be educated in perpetuity. We assert the sovereignty of tribal lands and acknowledge the painful historical and ongoing genocide, forced assimilation, and displacement of Native communities in establishing the university. We affirm contemporary and ancestral Anishinaabe ties to this land, the profound contributions of the Native American peoples to this institution, and the university's commitment to educating the children of our Native ancestors. It's a provost now, right? Excellent. Oh yeah, one more thing. There is a Canva agenda that's pretty close, and some of our grad students will be going around. They actually did a QR code, because they're smart like that, that you can then click on and get to the link so you could find the agenda. So Provost McCauley is one of our biggest champions, and she could not be here with us at this time. She had a previous engagement, but she sent along a video. So just so you know who she is, Lori McCauley is a provost and executive vice president for academic affairs at the University of Michigan, where she oversees the university's academic and budgetary affairs and helps lead major institutional initiatives, including the Look to Michigan strategic vision. A member of the Michigan faculty since 1992, she previously served as chair of periodontics and oral medicine and as dean of the School of Dentistry. That's where I met her. I used to collaborate with her. Excellent scientist, too. An internationally recognized researcher and member of the National Academy of Medicine, her leadership has advanced student success, support for those with disabilities, sustainability, accessibility, and faculty mentorship. And I just want to say she took out the part where she received 4 degrees from that school down south, Ohio State. But Provost McCauley.
Welcome to the 3rd annual Beautiful Minds Conference. I'm Lori McCauley, Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs, and I am delighted to welcome you to one of our campus's most exciting new traditions. This year's conference will touch on many powerful topics, from elevating neurodivergent voices to the nature of belonging. I'm looking at the agenda, and it has struck me that this year's theme might be distilled down to one word, and that is effort. It's about the effort it takes to present yourself day after day as someone slightly different, because the world around you was built for a different kind of person, the social habit known as masking. You will hear from students about the extra work it takes to navigate a campus physically and systemically for some neurodivergent people. You will hear from faculty about the extra effort it requires to navigate the path to tenure when an institution's unspoken rules and rhythms don't quite account for how you think and work. You will also hear about what becomes possible when the effort begins to shift, when institutions, not individuals, take on the work of making people feel comfortable being themselves. And that, to me, is where this conversation becomes especially important for a university. We can recognize and honor the effort individuals bring, but we also have to ask a more difficult question: where should that effort live? If we're willing to rethink our environments, our classrooms, our expectations, and definitions of participation, then effort becomes something we take on together. This is why I'm thrilled about the variety of personal stories on the agenda today. It's through the lens of firsthand experience that we begin to understand what still needs to change. This conference creates space for those stories. And just as importantly, it asks us all to listen with the intention to act. I'm grateful to the organizers, the speakers, and everyone in attendance for being part of this important work. I hope today offers not only insight into the lives of your fellow human beings, but a renewed sense of possibility for how we can continue building a university where people can flourish and do their best work as a result. Thank you for your effort and your choice to spend today learning, listening, and connecting with one another. Welcome to the 2026 Beautiful Minds Conference.
Angela Dillard is Vice Provost for Undergraduate Education and Interim Vice Provost for Access and Opportunity. Across undergraduate education and A&O, she works with multiple teams of faculty and professional staff to center the goals of access, opportunity, and student success, and to ensure that we are doing all we can to lower the institutional barriers to achievement for all students. As Vice Provost and Interim Vice Provost, she is specially charged with bringing aspects of the National Student Academic Success Movement to Michigan and is responsible for advancing continual improvements in the educational experience for more than 34,000 undergraduate students in partnership with undergraduate serving schools and colleges on the Ann Arbor campus. Angela Dillard.
Good morning and welcome to the Beautiful Minds Conference. It's truly a pleasure to be with you all today, and thank you for that introduction. And thank you to everyone who has helped bring this gathering to life. What a powerful and necessary space you've created. I want to begin by situating this work within the broader context that involves the three administrative roles that I hold at the moment: Interim Vice Provost for Access and Opportunity, Vice Provost for Undergraduate Education, and co-lead for the Year of Life-Changing Education, which is part of the Look to Michigan campaign. Access and Opportunity, A&O, was established as an expression of the university's commitment to expanding access, strengthening opportunity, and ensuring that all students can thrive. A&O serves as the home for several core units: the Center for Educational Outreach, the Office of Academic Multicultural Initiatives, and Wolverine Pathways. Together, these units, along with a network of cross-campus initiatives and partnerships, form a hub of expertise and a network of impact connecting people, programs, and ideas. At the heart of this work is a simple but powerful truth: talent is everywhere, but opportunity is not. Or, as a distinguished sociologist and professor of education, Vincent Tinto, put it, access without support is not an opportunity. Every time I see that quote on a page, I just want to pause and let it sink in again and again and again. It's a key insight, and for us, an awesome responsibility. So this question about the right relationship of access to opportunity is pretty crucial for the work we hope to do. This past year in particular has been a period of reflection and deep listening for us. We have asked ourselves carefully and honestly, how can we best serve the full breadth of UM's communities? What does it really mean to build a culture of belonging? What structures, practices, and relationships do we need to strengthen? And how do we ensure that academic success is accessible to everybody? One of the ways the A&O community answered these questions this past year is through identifying and codifying 6 areas of impact that guide our work. Among them is a focus on celebrating identities and communities, by which we mean honoring traditions of achievement and belonging in all forms across our campus. It's validation theory 101. Meet people where they are, emphasize strengths we all bring to various tables at which we sit, and move away from the disempowering language of deficits. We know that this work must include robust and sustained support for neurodivergent individuals and communities, not as an add-on, but as an integral part of how we define not only what a successful student looks like, but perhaps more importantly, what a successful institution requires. As Vice Provost for Undergraduate Education, I've been knitting together a cross-campus student success initiative that has been steadily redefining our definition of student success. Quote, "We acknowledge that individual students come to Michigan with their own visions of success that we want to empower them to pursue even as those visions shift over time. From an institutional perspective, student success at the UM means every student has a strong sense that they are a full member of the campus community. We cultivate belonging. Student success also means being able to make good progress towards degree completion while developing the skills necessary for a fulfilling career and meaningful societal contributions. We want students to be not only career ready, but world ready. Realizing these goals is a shared responsibility across the multiple roles that affect the student experience. It includes UM faculty and staff at all levels. Our cross-campus work requires engaging in holistic and collaborative approaches, working for and with students to promote well-being, academic achievement, and the joy of learning, especially the joy of learning. We use data-driven and evidence-based practices to remove barriers to access to everything a Michigan education has to offer. What I love about this moment in the National Student Success Movement is that we're increasingly positioning student success as an institutional responsibility, kind of echoing here Provost Macaulay's words. If we're not able to retain and support and mentor and graduate all of our students equitably, then that's on us. We need to figure it out and we need to fix it. Elevating neurodivergent voices and supporting mental health, well-being, and belonging is one way of naming that goal. And the Beautiful Minds Conference and Project is creating a roadmap for how we might get there. Unfortunately, I won't be able to catch much of today's conference, but let's talk as you all move forward on this project. Members of my team will be here, and we want to be able to continue to be good partners to you in this work. Opportunities like this create space not only for dialogue, but for reimagining, not only for visibility, but for the painstaking effort that institutional transformation demands. Indeed, if we're serious about access and opportunity, student success, and supporting life-changing education, then we must be serious about embracing the full range of how people learn, think, create, and contribute. It is this diversity of minds that helps drive innovation, deepens inquiry, and strengthens our understanding of academic excellence. I'm especially proud to see students so deeply engaged in this work, especially at the intersection of research and advocacy that opens up when students take what they are learning and use it to reshape the very environments that they inhabit. You know, universities would look really different if they were designed for and by students. And I think about that a lot. What would a university look like if it was truly centered on students? The Life-Changing Education has been sponsoring events this semester to explore the campus of the future, including a student idea showcase last week. And the ideas they presented were pretty impressive. They were asking new questions. They were challenging assumptions. They're building knowledge and community in ways that will have a lasting impact, if we let them. And they are the architects of a more inclusive Michigan. Again, if we stand by their side and support them. To speak more deeply about these initiatives and the student work emerging from them, it's my pleasure to introduce someone who embodies these values every day and who I'm really happy to be able to work with, Michelle Ferez. Dr. Ferez serves as the Assistant Vice Provost for Undergraduate Research and Student Success. and is the Senior Director of the Undergraduate Research Opportunity Program at the newly formed Center for Research, Scholarship, and Creative Inquiry at the University of Michigan. Michelle has over 25 years of professional research and assessment experience at higher education institutions, including managing multi-institutional NSF grants and the implementation of pipeline retention and academic/professional programs for undergraduate and graduate students. Michelle's primary research interests center on post-secondary access and success for minoritized women and men in STEM fields, the intersectionality of personal and professional identities in STEM, and its relationship to persistence, culture, and climate of the learning context in STEM, and the role of STEM diversity programs in creating educational equity. She is published in the Journal of Higher Education, the Journal of College Student Development, Community College Journal of Research and Practice, and the Journal of Engineering Education. Dr. Ferez chairs the Council of Undergraduate Research at Large Division and is co-chair of the Scholarship and Practice of Undergraduate Research. It's my pleasure to welcome her. Thank you again for being here, for your commitment, and for the many ways you contribute to making Michigan a place where all minds can flourish. Enjoy the conference. And Michelle?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, energy. On behalf of the University of Michigan, welcome to Neurodiversity Beautiful Minds Conference. I want to ask, is this the fourth year of the third year? And I remember how this came about and really came about organically from students, from researchers, and so forth. So I'm very proud to be here. It is an honor to open this gathering, one that brings together students, scholars, clinicians, educators, staff, families, and community partners with a shared purpose to deepen understanding, to strengthen inclusion, and to move from good intentions to meaningful change. When I was asked to do the welcoming for the conference, I thought, as I develop my words and kind of shape this conversation, what is one simple recognition that needs to be laid out? And that simple recognition is that human minds are not meant to be identical. People think, learn, communicate, focus, and experience the world in different ways, and those differences are not incidental. They shape innovation, scholarship, and problem solving, leadership, and community life. When we talk about neurodiversity, we are naming a fact of humanity. When we commit to neuroinclusion, we are naming a responsibility, one that calls on institutions like ours to design environments where more people can thrive. And that design work is urgent because for too many neurodivergent people, the world still asks for constant translation, fitting the mold, masking the difference, push through systems not built with you in mind. Our charge, especially in a university setting, is to do better than that. We can build classrooms that recognize multiple pathways to learning, workplaces that support different ways of organizing and communicating, healthcare that listens with humility, and research that is rigorous and respectful. That is why I'm especially proud that part of today's program highlights UROP student researchers whose work is being presented at this conference. UROP, the Undergraduate Research Opportunity Program, represents something Michigan does at its best. It invites students not only to absorb knowledge, but to help create it. UROP students learn how to ask careful questions, how to work in teams, how to test ideas against evidence, and how to communicate findings responsibly. Just as importantly, they learn that research is not separate from real life. Research shapes policies, practices, and perceptions. Research can open doors or close them. It can illuminate lived experiences or it can overlook it. So the values we bring to research matter. The students you will hear from today have contributed to work that reflects both intellectual rigor and human purpose. Their projects are not only about understanding neurodiversity more clearly, but about building a world that meets people with greater accuracy, dignity, and possibility. They represent the kind of scholarship we most need. Scholarship that is curious, careful, ambitious, and accountable. As we listen to these presentations, I want to offer a few invitations, simple but I believe powerful. First, listen for the question underneath the data. What is the real problem the research is trying to address? What experience is it trying to better name, measure, or understand? Second, listen for complexity without losing sight of humanity. Neurodiversity does not fit neatly into one story, one category, or one set of supports. The goal is not to reduce people to labels or averages, but to improve the conditions in which individuals and communities can flourish. Third, listen for what the work makes possible. Not only what did we learn, but what could we change? What would it look like to redesign a practice, a program, a classroom, a workplace or environment, a clinic, or a campus? Because ultimately, the measure of a university is just not what it discovers, it is what it enables. Who gets to participate? Who gets to belong? Who gets to be recognized as capable, talented, and worthy of investment? To the students, raise your hands. Thank you. Thank you for your discipline, your courage, and your professionalism, because sharing research publicly is an act of service. You are contributing to a conversation that matters deeply, and you are doing it at a formative stage of your careers. This is what leadership in scholarship looks like. To the research mentors, collaborators, and community members who support these projects, thank you for creating the conditions for students to do meaningful work and for modeling what it means to guide research with both excellence and integrity. And to everyone gathered here, thank you for showing up, not just to attend, but to engage. Conferences like this are more than a schedule of sessions. They are an opportunity to align values with action, to build relationships that outlast today, and to carry the work back into the places where we teach, learn, practice, hire, design, and lead. Neurodiversity is not a sidebar to excellence. It is part of excellence. It expands what we notice, how we solve problems, and whose brilliance we recognize. If we want a future that is smarter, kinder, and more just, then neuroinclusion cannot be optional. It must be built into our standards, our systems, and our everyday choices. Momentarily, you will hear from UROP student researchers whose work will be featured today. Please join me in welcoming them later and giving them the attentive, generous audience their work deserves. Thank you, everyone, and welcome.